Hello, children. I hope you're doing well today. So, let's do the next lesson of UASST for grade 6 Europe in the Late Middle Ages.
So here we have the learning objectives to explore some of the changes in the European society during the late Middle Ages. We need to discuss the importance of treating people equally. Next, the UAE link. UAE treats all the nationalities equally with complete freedom of practicing religious customs. The CC link, history. The topic has the complete description about the life in the Middle Ages. Here we have the warm-up exercise from the textbook. You can see two maps over here. One in the right corner is the map which is given in the textbook. So what you are supposed to do is that the map which I have put in the middle over here, this is the modern day map of Europe. So you have to write down over here in your textbook those countries which you can see in this red patch. So which are those countries? You can easily make out from modern day map and write down those countries over here in this textbook. Then these are the countries I have mentioned it also on the left side. You can see n number of countries over here, children. So please mention it in your textbook. Besides this, question put up over there for the warm up exercise. The countries in red were united under one emperor during the late Middle Ages. How does this empire compare with the Roman Empire? Now you can read this, children. This is the answer which has been given by me. Please check the answer. So now here let us see the background, children, of the late Middle Ages. When we go through the late Middle Ages, we find that Europe was not a unified group of provinces with clear boundaries and a central government. This was not the case. It was a loose connection of territories whose borders kept on changing. So the red patch which you can see in your textbook in the warm-up exercise, that was a huge big patch which was called as the Holy Roman Empire. In present day, children, you will find so many countries in that red patch. So earlier, we did not have these clear boundaries and it kept changing. It dependent, it was dependent on the king and how ambitious he was. So if the king was able to invade large portions of his neighboring kingdom, then obviously the border used to change. The boundaries used to go further. So this is all what I have to say about this. Now let us just proceed further. It did not have an army. So Europe did not have its own army because it was not a unified group of provinces. After the fall of the Roman Empire in the late 5th century, Europe underwent a long period of instability in which we had various tribes like the Germanic tribes, the Franks, the Suevi, and all these people battled against each other for the control of the empire. So you can understand it was a period of chaos, confusion, insecurity, and instability. Here we come to this the person whom you can see over here is Charlemagne, and this Charlemagne's rule. Now in 768 CE, Charlemagne became the king of the Franks and united all the Germanic tribes into one single kingdom. So he was the person to bring all those warring tribes under his rule. Under his rule, the Franks became the leading power in Europe. Why? Because it was the Frank king who was ruling a vast, huge, big empire. So, children, here we have the Carolingian Renaissance. Charlemagne led Europe into a period called the Carolingian Renaissance. It was a time of great cultural and intellectual achievement. Why? Because he was a great admirer of literature, books, and enjoyed learning about other cultures. So, under his rule, a library was built. Scholars were given the job of writing books of history, poetry, art, and philosophy. Now, philosophy means what? Philosophy means good schools of thought. That means if you have a good ideology, that becomes your philosophy. Like how we have Gandhiji. And Gandhiji had a very beautiful philosophy of satyagraha, that is non violence. He always spoke about doing things in a very peaceful manner. He always said that one should keep simple living but high thinking. So that is known as philosophy when you have good thoughts. Then he made friendly contacts with Harun al Rashid, the Caliph of Baghdad, the leader of Baghdad, chief of Baghdad, at a time when this Muslim world was going through the golden age of Islamic civilization. So here we had in Europe Charlemagne, whereas over there in the Muslim world, in Baghdad, we had Harun al Rashid. So these two people had good friendly contacts with each other. Now, the split of the Holy Roman Empire, which was a very sad thing, children. So, over the next several centuries, when I say centuries, means of 100 years. So, several centuries went on, and after that, the unity that Charlemagne established gradually fell apart. The empire split, was divided into hundreds of smaller territories, each controlled by its own ruler. The rulers were usually wealthy landowners or nobles. The empire was still ruled by an emperor, but his power was limited and difficult to enforce without an army. Feudalism in Europe. So you can see this pyramid, children, wherein you have the Pope and the Church on the apex. Then below that you have the monarch or the king. Below him are the nobles, and they were the people who were actually maintaining an army for the king. And on the call of the king, the army was sent by these nobles. So the nobles actually maintained an army. So the army was, if you see, they were loyal to the nobles than to the king. Then below that, children, we have got the knights or the vassals. After that comes the merchants, the farmers, the craftsmen, and then we have the peasants and the serfs. Now, this is the social hierarchy, children, of that time. When I say hierarchy, is the division of the society from higher to lower, from superior to inferior. So during medieval times, during those Middle Ages, European society was structured around the relationship between the landowners, that is the nobles, and the farmers or the workers. And this was called as feudalism. That is the society structured around the relationship between the nobles and the farmers. Now, these landowners were usually a soldier, but they were called as lord, and they were given the property by the king because the king couldn't administer a huge big province. So, naturally, he had to divide his empire into small divisions, and those divisions or those provinces were supposed to be looked after by somebody. So that somebody was the landowner over here who was usually a soldier, and they were given this title as a lord. The landowners loaned out his land to the vassal to farm the land. The serfs or peasants lived on land, farmed the land, which were supervised by these vassals. So that means at the apex you have the king, king giving the power in the hands of the lords. The lords further giving out the power to the vassal so that they can look after to the farming activities which were done by the farmers or the serfs. We have the Burgher society. As the high Middle Ages moved into the late Middle Ages, changes in the society began to appear. Now, during this 13th century, the rise of the cities created a new kind of social structure, and that was called as the Burgher society. These Burghers were usually wealthy people. They often became the city officials. They had more privileges than the regular citizens, like no taxes, no fines, needn't be a soldier during the time of wars. And a crime against a burgher was considered a crime against the city. So that was the prestigious position which was held by these people. And in their society of the burghers, money became the most common way to show off wealth and buy goods. So they were more materialistic. This Hanseatic League, so that was a group or an association, an organization. As trade became more organized, with groups of merchants working together to deliver goods and set prices, this Hanseatic League came into be formation, and that was formed in the 12th century. So this was one such agreement, one such famous agreement of that time. So members of this league, Hanseatic League, controlled the seas of Europe. They created trade alliances, that is, trading good contacts with each other and making huge profits from their teamwork. Here comes activity 1, children. I have done this activity for you. Please check it. It's a textual activity, book activity, children, which you can see over here. I have put up some pictures for better understanding. So, first one is Lord. You can go through this. Then in the same activity, we have got the vassal. So who are those vassals? Please go through. Then we have continuation of activity 2. Who were the serfs? So you can go through. This was the lowest social class of the feudal society. So you can go through. They were as good as slaves, children. So this is again a textbook activity, children. When you have the cities coming up, so what are the things which one finds results into it? So you can see that. Then here again you have step 1, 2, 3 and 4 put up for you. Please look at the flow chart. Next comes activity 5, in which when different groups of people in the society aren't treated fairly, then what it leads to. So it could lead to various negative things, children. I have put that for you. You can please read it. For the plenary, just check your knowledge, children. After reading the lesson, going through the video, are you able to answer these questions? If yes, then it's really good. If not, then please read the textbook again. So, children, here we come to an end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you really liked my video, then please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, then please a humble request, do subscribe. Okay, children, take very good care of yourself. See you next time with my some new videos. Till then, take care. Bye bye.